We have the Infravision Foundation founder, Mr. Vinayak Chatterjee, joining us for an interaction. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Your first thoughts on the budget?
Well, it's the infra capex is not as big as we thought it would be. And I think I'd like to do a little bit of stage setting before I come directly to this interim budget. Remember that infra investments expansion was clipping at 30% plus. In FY22, the budget announcements took infra investments from 5 lakh crores to 7.5 lakh crores, which was a 30% increase. Come to the year after that, which is last year, in FY23, the infra budget was expanded by 35% from 7.5 to 10 lakh crores. So currently, the current budget has it at 10 lakh crores. Now, in this FY24 interim budget, one expected that in a carry-on spirit, the same level and momentum of 30% would be carried forward, which means a 10 lakh crore investment last year budgeted would translate into 13 lakh crores. But instead of a 30% expected increase, what we have seen is an 11.1% increase, which means that it is far, far below what the infra sector was expecting. If you look at it one way, the normal inflation of construction material is about 5 or 6%. So it's really about a 4.5% or 5% growth in real terms, which is insufficient for what the economy needs in terms of infra investments. So, however, we are cognizant of the fact that this is just a work in process to get the arms of the government moving as usual for the next 2-3 months. So what we are expecting is that the real thrust on infra, which will be a 30% plus allocation, will really happen in the full budget of June or July. Now, that would be important for the simple reason that infra investments have the highest multiplier on GDP growth. And this government has been acutely conscious of the fact that the high GDP that we have got in the last few years was because of the very high expansion of the infrastructure outlays. So if we have to maintain GDP at 7%, 7.5%, and even aspire to 8%, then infra capex has to expand at about 30% to 35%. So it is a macroeconomic requirement. So therefore, my broad take is that this is fine as a carry-on budget for the next 2-3 months, but it requires, infra sector certainly requires to be expanded in budgetary terms, allocation terms by 30 to 35% to be as per the stated policy of the government, economic policy, that public expenditure and infra capex is going to be the pump primer of the Indian economy. And to do that, we need 30 to 35%. So let's wait for the full budget.
Well, I'd like to end by asking you then, what are you expecting in the full budget come July?
Look, job creation will happen in any case. There is last year, a very senior functionary from the finance ministry shared with us during a post-budget meet, possibly on the NDTV channel, if I recall, that the government has a confidential document that every 1 rupee spent on infrastructure results in 3 rupees increase in GDP. Whereas 1 rupee spent on direct benefit transfer, DBT, results in 90% of GDP. So even this 11 lakh crores budgetary allocation that has just been presented, multiplied by 3 means a 33 lakh crore increase in the GDP. India's GDP in any case is around is going to be around 330 lakh crores in the coming year. It's 297 right now. So that quantum of push will in any case go towards creating jobs. And anyway, there have been some welcome pushes other than the allocation. There have been some welcome buttons pushed during the FM speech. And let me rattle this off quickly. We are talking about 2 crore more houses coming in the Awas Yojana program. There is a policy announced of rooftop solarization, which is positioned as an anti-poverty measure. There is mention of PPP formats to boost agri storage. Then there is 3 railway corridors for energy, minerals, and cement, which should hopefully address the logistics cost reduction agenda. There is certainly thoughts in terms of boosting the green economy with viability gap funding for offshore wind as well as for coal gasification. And there are programs for e-vehicles and e-infrastructure for transportation. So all of these add up to a neat pile, but the big elephant in the room is still to wait for the levels of increase in capex of 30% plus, which I am repeating again, we shall be awaiting with bated breath during the formulation of the main budget.